All right, it is Wednesday, April 1st, and I'm sharing a pretty long piece today. It's just a long free verse poetry experiment. I had a cool idea to write 99 couplets, just on not really any kind of connection, but maybe there is if I read it later. But these are all very fresh still. This album is called Trabajo, duro y sin mierdas. I think it pretty much translates to work hard and no bullshit. Like hard work and no bullshit. And I don't know, it just came to me maybe last week or so or the week prior. And the lyrics came pretty quickly. I wrote them over the last like 3 days, really. In like rations of 33. For some reason I was like write 99 lines or 99 couplets, and I wrote them all at random times throughout the day. I would just put two lines together and form eventually 33 couplets, and then I would take a break. And this morning I wrote the last 33 couplets. So maybe there's some structure to it based on where my head was. I wrote the 33, the first ones, maybe a couple days ago over the course of a few days. The second 33 were mainly written yesterday, and then the last 33 I wrote pretty quickly when I woke up this morning. I don't really know if there's much of a concept to this other than I want to make a seamless ambient album with very minimalistic. And I put some influences at the bottom of this post. Terry, these were all really, really essential albums for me around 2020 or so. Every day at work, I would just like meditate outside by myself for like a good half an hour to an hour and just stretch and meditate. And these were the albums that I always had on repeat pretty much. Sorry. Steve Roach, Structures from Silence, Laraji, Sun Zither. Those kind of came later, to be honest. But at work, when I was meditating, it was mostly Terry Riley and Asra, which is like a krautrock thing, Sun Rain, New Age of Earth album. I was getting into krautrock even before then, but more so around that time period. So, yeah, Terry Riley, he's pretty well known. And it was mainly that Rainbow and Curved Air. I would just listen to that almost every day. And then I got into Laurie Spiegel as well. Maybe I'll include her, even though that's more electronic and it's not really what I'm going for. But I'll mention her here. Laurie Spiegel, that was a big one. I wrote a whole screenplay about a character called Lori it's totally fictional, but it was kind of inspired by her, how she was a part of that golden record that went up to space in the 70s. That really caught my imagination, so I wrote a whole sci-fi screenplay called Expanding Universe about it. But yeah, Laurie Spiegel, if you like electronic music, she's definitely one you should check out if you never heard of her. But the music for this album, I'm seeing it as a very minimalistic, ambient piece. If I really immerse myself in that genre, because that's something I don't really know how to do. But I've listened to a lot in that type of droney atmosphere, and I like that very much. The drone, just that whole quality of losing yourself within the music and the atmosphere that's just so powerful that all the other bullshit just gets zoned out. All the stupid shit that you don't want to think about that other people try to put in your head, it just evaporates because it's completely formless. I said, if you base your life on bullshit, eventually the bullshit's going to just collapse on itself because it's like a house of cards, pretty much. So these are some of the thoughts that probably went into the lyrics. And I wrote on the intro to this post, I wrote a brief introduction and I was like, what did I say? That was kind of meaningful. I don't have a lot of meaningful statements, but this one kind of hit the mark. The reason I'm tired of writing lyrics mainly deals with how repetitive I probably appear, but fuck it. Humanity has always moved in somewhat mundane cycles throughout our short, stupid history, and I guess my artistic DNA is regrettably a victim of this depressing sentiment. So that came out this morning as I was preparing to post this and edit the lyrics one more time. And in terms of the editing, I really didn't edit it all that much. I think I still have the first draft saved so I could look back and see. It was it was mainly just a way to make the phrases flow better. And really that's what it was. It was more of an aesthetic thing verbally of how the syllables and the structure of this. It's hard to do when you don't know what music you're going to implement, but again, I picture like that Terry Riley, Laraji. Well, Brian Eno's done everything, but yeah, he's got plenty of mellow stuff. I think he has an album called Apollo or something. That's pretty peaceful, but there's plenty of peaceful stuff. The Airport album, he did one with Laraji too, I think. I think a lot of people collaborated with that guy. So there's a number of albums, even the Juliana Barwick that I always talk about, Cellar. There's so many ambient artists that drone you out, and it's a good way to meditate. It's hard to do just in silence, I know, unless you're really in tune with that wavelength as like a Buddhist monk type of deal. And you can just separate yourself from the bullshit and find that peaceful state of mind to just sit in silence like that. It's something that comes with practice, and I don't really try to even practice it anymore. I used to do it more outside, especially in really bad periods of my life. But now I just kind of lose patience for it. There is one line in this about patience. I call it like a, and this is a long one. I'm going to try to go through this, but it's long, man. So I'm just warning you that there's 99 couplets. So I'm going through 100 and what's 99 times 3? Fuck, I can't do that math. Whatever that is, it's a lot of words. I had one phrase about patience. It had patience, the serially crude bitch, because that's what I kind of feel like it is. It's probably the hardest virtue to really master. If you can master a virtue like that, patience, not so much temperance, or those things are easy because you could quit smoking, quit drinking coffee, you could quit eating meat, eating bread, eating sugar, and your body adjusts to it. At least for me, mentally training myself is more difficult in terms of venting frustrations through meditation, or like I said, having a patient mindset. It's tough to do at certain points of your life. I'm kind of reminded of that phrase, like youth is wasted on the young, or whatever that is. It's true. When you're young, you kind of want to experience everything, and you have little patience for waiting around, whether in school or your bullshit job or whatever it is. And then as you get older, I think your patience is also hard to come by. You have to practice it. And it's very meditative. If you can handle that type of mental workout, because it is a workout to train your mind to just shut down, especially when you look at your phone for all your information, your dopamine release, and all your other bullshit. You're constantly distracted, or I'll just go with that. You're constantly distracted, or your attention is being consumed by whatever, an 8-inch screen that you look at constantly. And I'm totally addicted to it. I keep justifying it to myself that I'm using my phone to try to start to well, not start, but to start a financially viable business. That's a correct statement. Yeah, I built a business, and I built um, what I think is kind of a brand of what I want to do with my art, and to help other people create their art in similar positions that don't really have marketable assets, and a way to get their work out there to make it financially viable to the degree I want it to be. So, yeah, it's a weird type of love hate relationship with technology, because I keep repeating this over and over again. It's a form of artistic freedom to do this at any moment, anywhere you are. You just need your stupid fucking phone, and you can create pretty much whatever you want. And yeah, all the art that I've created on my Instagram, and I've really been addicted to Instagram the last 2 or 3 weeks, because I'm trying to share more and more artwork. And it's a weird thing to manage. I get why like really famous people just don't pay attention to it. They hire people to manage their social media and shit, because it is annoying, but it's also it's annoying because it's addicting. You want to see if people are liking your stuff and all this other, reposting your stuff and seeing which ones are most popular. But it's such a false way to rationalize your art, especially for myself, because I don't even know. I never doodle something with an intent, or um, I never write anything with a specific intent. I have to force myself to, well, what's the concept? What's the theme? What's the meaning behind this? I have to force myself to find something like that, because I really don't give a shit. I just want to create cool stuff, and I realize, yeah, the more meaningful it is, people will find more value in it. I guess it's like that. I figure art still works under those guidelines. The more meaningful and true and honest, then people will find more value in it. But sometimes people just want to listen to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just they want to listen to fun stuff that's not very full of itself. And that's kind of where I am. I'm more on that side, actually. I don't like writing these long poems, or whatever you want to call this. But I'm gonna try to go through this now. It's long, so I'm gonna mess up a lot, but I'll just do it anyway. I'm gonna try to go through it and picture the type of ambient music playing inside my head. Sorry you can't hear it, but there is like constant music going on in my head. So that's kind of what I'm relying on to get through this. Fast track to stimuli, carbon based Gemini. The no man's nomenclature ranks to every man's poltergeist. As long as you're alive, might as well be happy. As long as you're a vine, might as well ape apathy. If you follow all the rules, you'll bask in ignorance and passively support industrialized barbarism. The setup speeds the afterglow. What's in a name? What keeps the lights on? Blood or reincarnated props? Drudge the warmth of recall, unionize the masturbation, trade war for a gravity genuine, imagine the move before you emote, entertain the payment of chaotic containment, the bald man carpets the fading, followed then stoned by a public rabid and jaded, forcing the conflict to sweat the script. The mold erodes within a dualistic grave, minimalize the carbon latent, predestined to cave in. The uninspired fire still burns like a mercenary for hire to certify the hatchlings. Count the wrinkles in your mind, note the anchors on your spine, love the easy path. Compromised by the tin man's worth and the healing salt. Meditate with wireless, no more moves to automate, motivated through sin, judgment by those rancid, the wise just as blinded by the meek, inheritance staked like Luther's 96, full moon fever to grease the vessel, the debt forgiven behind the curtain, paint the zombie blue, the entrance to the mania, mad science, trivial tonics, religion dripped from comatose clouds, umbilical revolts, from coded responses, years rust to honor the spirit, digital insemination, no motive but disgrace, randomized anticipatory vibrations, rhymes unbound, insolvent and proud, the voice in the vortex like the siren baiting the flow, a drained heritage desperate to choke, the ego off the ropes, why nothing always means the most, authority of the eager mutant, reptilian lobe within a skin conditioned, whose hand to grasp, which sky to collapse, what role to charm, methods of alarm from the realm of classless utopias, uniform cemented on the wall, fuck the famous and historical, insects block, the branded breeze preach the guilt, tepid and bland, ghosted by the shadow, only required to eat shit, sleep, and flounder. Neutral organs seek the crumbs like groceries labeled with crimes of war. Chimes ignored, nothing to write home about when the victims conform. Off target for critical spite. Learned the mission when the blight freed the god subconscious. Then harvested love. Nothing always depreciates from birth. Trabajo duro y sin mierdas. That's the first 33 couplets, and yeah, I messed up some of the cadence and some of the flow, but is it umbilical or umbilical? I don't know how to say that word. Umbilical cord, umbilical. That's the first 33. Those came over the course of like a week because I didn't know what I was doing with this yet. I just started writing a new notepad text document, and then I titled it this, Trabajo duro y sin mierdas. I'm still trying to learn Spanish, but I'm really taking a break from it for the last couple days so I could do this. And yeah, I just like the way that phrase sounded in Spanish more than English. If you say work hard and no bullshit, it doesn't sound as poetic as trabajo duro y sin mierdas. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Trabajo or trabajo? I think it's trabajo. All right, these are the next 33. I want to get through this quickly. I don't want to spend any time really thinking about this. I work better if I just work mindlessly. Postponed by the pussy. Sordid suggestions from biased pawns. Ingenuity fills the asylum. Angled kings invest in enemies. Mental frustration, parallel sexual abuse. Only prisoners rely on truth. Redundant and deserted on islands with no census or credo. Physical as well, but the mind of the child disconnects from binary modes. Electric shock aids the fascist hairline. Employment inside the beast academia. A who's who and supermarket line, staple the fat back to your ribs, exterminated by condescending, puritanical population crusades, no re-entry to the garden, the flat earth bubble confounded, deconstruct your ancestry, slander like the butterfly's wings, dictate that marathon within the song without the right to wrong, machine learning suspects swindle the loneliest crutch, certain sermons from higher altitudes, through a turbulent scandalous, the covers designed at the exit, when dreams loom but crash with the craze, the dummy tested and obsolete, deleted from immemorial pursuits, the stem cell like a sentry, mass surveillance bloomed identical. Life doesn't have to rhyme, blow out the candles with your eyes, the thinking man's games without the surgery, selective defects to blame the rain again, the stream signals your inner plague, while nothing paves the safest way. How many fucks to summon the attack? Hail to the chief of tempted grief. Plummet through time to reclaim your innocence. The minimalist risk the world upside down. The water now indignant and free to cash out amongst the thieves, eat the context and betray the function. Vanity and lust disrobed in echoes, internal jest blessed by the alchemist, like the purpose of that whale, speared for national fervor. Negotiate the ending at the start. Live your will before your efficiency disbands. Lost interest in the interest. The most fragile central intelligence. Slept on codas, absurd and distasteful. Nothing planned will overdose obstacles. Thwart your inner septuagenarian. Create a currency that glows in the darkest of phrase. Delusional plunder. Delusions plunder rooms to breed. Delusions plunder room to breed. Mushroom clouds taint the horizon, seduced by corporate creeds and socialized death. Regift the harm through lotteries leased. Vampires introverted and bubble wrapped, pleased to meet your multiple designs. Nothing as safe as it gets. Teach justice with an arrogant wrath, past the familial torch of hunger. Immortal request, foam from the gut, life by a thousand must. Westward for the bait and switch and dichotomy dormant, a mind heisted, a fork in the substance, discontinued banks to gravel for more. Nothing bleeds like nothing sliced. Trabajo, duro y sin mierdas. Yeah, that one I messed up more. But you get the tone of this, I guess, if there is one. The final 33 is a little bit quicker. I tried to make it even more minimalist. But this is kind of the opposite of minimalist. It's a lot of fucking words. But again, I figured if I made this album a 30-minute long, like ambient drone with overlapping melodies that come in over time, over the 30-minute span or whatever it comes out to be. Because you can't really plan for an organic, ambient type of composition. You just have to create it and go with it. Some editing, I'm sure. But the only other time I tried to do something like this was an album I called Relationships with Time, which I never really finished, but I had the idea and I worked on it for a long time. It was all instrumental with maybe some spoken word stuff, but it was the same type of structure as this one. And all right, let me finish this and then I'll talk just a little bit more because I just want to get done with all the lyrics. I feel like I have to speak it out loud just to be done with this and I can move on to something else. It's just how my mind works like this. So I'm not really practicing. I haven't practiced this. This is the first time I'm going through any of these lines out loud. Even when I write stuff, I try to maybe say it out loud sometimes to get the rhythm, to get the flow correct. But I might even edit this, I'm sure, more and more as I go. Because it's a lot of fucking words. I might even have to cut this down by the time I get around to making the music for it. But this is the last 33 couplets. These are the last 33 couplets. Hyperbolic digestion, wrung out resources, the dominant mind eye, Christmas tree drive-by, meaningless shades, thrifted subconscious, sexual notary, syndicated idolatry, drowned at the mountain's top, commanded to forget the ceiling, wormed spines empty the focus, intimacy grotesquely reversed, self-taught pantomime, too cursed to allow the clap, brainwaves fictional and elapsed, Rooted espionage seeds illusions of choice, the generational surcharge, trips towards heavenly schisms, Taurus with wounded hypotheses, one size shrinks the savior, tinted windows, randomized reality, two kids and a mortgage to binge, gamblers squeeze to rationalize the passion, uninvited but within the taste, destitute without wisdom teeth, gaseous, precious appetizers, unlisted toxins, sides affected, patience to serially crude bitch, sci-fi just as deteriorated, visually learned from the pledged abyss, truth referred by envious testicles, symptoms of converted despotism, sanctioned by the idiot ironic, calcified hearts distort the determinism, fucked by the sword, the fool celebrated and recalcitrant, question your allies and alibis, nothing remains your only friend, mirror the horror on every screen, march the fuse unenthused, baby out with the baptismal flood, secure the respite, the oasis, the shaman, expansion frantic and under the lock, keyed the eyes to save a buck, cultural pride thins the tribe, the first word succumbs, the second contrives, the third criticizes, the fourth dangles like a drug, more addicted wines to mass induce, a new stretch to reduce, kneeling only to accrue some proof, spread knowledge like a police state, speak it aloud and hammer it in your head, deck your halls with the thunderous spoils, remember, the identity rendered, loaned out sharks, attack the headline corrupted, nothing else to learn, confess, stress, or waste, punch down, punch up, sell out, endorse the flock, all in a day but saved for the delay, monotony hypnotizes, remedy the shallow with visions incumbent, as another Medusa rots in an assisted living parking lot, assassination plots bore the spectacle, 33 diseased, times 3 to recede the wanting, success reflects the composted audience, rattle like the snake in the manger, rosemary without any disclaimers, fuck that Higgs boson, Trabajo, duro y sin mierdas. So, yeah, that's it. There are some funny lines. I don't even know if I used that line before. Rosemary without any disclaimers. I might have used that line before. I don't even remember. It's a problem when I have a lot of writing, and sometimes I feel like I get way too repetitive where I'm actually copying actual phrases, but I'm not sure if I've used that before. It's just Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite movies. It's just freaky as shit. And maybe that's why I feel like I go to that movie to use it as a metaphor or some symbolism a lot. Fuck that Higgs boson. I'm not really sure what that means. I just thought it was funny. I think it's just like the Higgs boson is like proof of creating. I don't know. I'm not going to sound like a scientist because I'm not a scientist. I'm not really sure. I thought it had something to do with gravity, like it was proving gravity, or you could create your own gravitational field or something. I'm not sure. This will be the only thing I Google because I don't feel like doing a lot of this today. Higgs boson for idiots. That is something I need for dummies. That works. The Higgs boson, this is coming from Google AI. The Higgs boson is a fundamental particle that confirms the existence of the Higgs field. Well, that doesn't help me. Which is an invisible energy field permeating the universe that gives other particles mass. Does the Higgs boson... I'm lying, I have to look this up too. Does the Higgs boson relate to gravity? Okay, that is one of the Google suggestions. No, the Higgs boson does not directly relate to or cause gravity. While it gives mass to fundamental particles, this is distinct from gravitational mass. All right, so I don't know. I'm not really sure what I even mean by that phrase. Fuck the Higgs boson. I was like, maybe that has something to do with how gravity is perceived, and sometimes it feels like it's really weighing you down. Uh, the feeling of weightlessness, that's probably why people get addicted to opiates and stuff like that, because I think it gives people that sense of floatiness. I'm not saying to do it. I don't do any drugs. I'm just saying that's probably why people get addicted to opiates so much, because it's such a feeling of release. But you get so addicted to the feeling that you need more and more to get to that point. So it's such a dangerous escape. That's why I'm saying, and I think I recently listened to a podcast that mentioned transcendental meditation and how even people like David Lynch wanted to teach it in schools. And I'm totally for that, man. That's not really a form of prayer, although people will probably say that transcendental meditation is just a way to, it's almost like something you could teach in gym class. It's a way to exercise your mind, to shut off all your fears and anxieties and bullshit. And that's a big thing in this album. Like, this album is titled Hard Work and No Bullshit. It's kind of a mantra as well that I'm trying to live by every day. I'm trying to do at least something on Substack or Instagram. We're trying to create new ideas. The only thing I'm not working on right now is screenplays, even though I have so many in mind, because it's just too much. I look at this as what I'm doing now today and the stuff I've done over the last few months to make these album blueprints. It's just showing what I'm capable of doing if I had the resources. It's a part of the business plan I'm creating of what I want to do for the next 20, 30 years of my life. And these are necessary ways to get there, along with the book I wrote a few years ago, along with other stuff I've done. It it gets me to the point where I'm justified in pursuing these goals I have for myself. Is it financially viable at this point? No, I need a lot of startup capital to do what I want to do, or at least for the next 20, 30 years of my life, I have to have that type of security in mind. So it's getting me to that point where I'm more than confident to start this business as in terms of making the music for all these albums, but I don't have the means to do so. So I keep doing this to, and plus it's just a way to, creating anything is a form of therapy. So it's also, in that light, it's a good way to get rid of frustrations. But the frustrations are primarily coming from the fact that I can't pursue what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And that's kind of, I was going to say, self-fulfilling prophecy. I'm writing art because I can't make my art. It's very odd way to do this, but I'm sure other people have similar concepts where they're kind of driven into this artistic, frustrated state of mind, desperate state of mind, and that's where their creative spirit comes from. I don't really like thinking of art like it has to be some struggle, because why? Like, people have the prototypical artist, starving artist, struggling to survive, politically fucked or economically fucked. And a lot of those are true stereotypes, but it doesn't have to be like that. It's the same thing with the musicians or these tortured spirits that have to turn to drugs and alcohol. It's so fucking cliche that I don't think people really look at it that way anymore. It's such a cliche. Well, musicians can be viewed as artists as well or whatever, but it's such a cliche way to enter into the artistic realm that it's so played out. Even like country music had that outlaw country shit. Hip hop has it. Punk rock is all about that. Punk rock is pretty much all outcast or people who like that type of atmosphere. You can be like a total straight edge. Well, they're straight edge punk rockers. You could be a total straight edge corporate, pro war, pro military industrial complex, pro police state, but you still enjoy punk rock. Like there's that weird, you just like the energy of it. And it's just a weird way to enjoy artistic creation because I'm sure there's people like that exist, or maybe in their youth they were more carefree, more nihilistic, and more on that anarchy spectrum. But now they're more conservative because that's what they say, right? When you get older, you either become conservative or you're going to get washed out or fucked over by someone. Whatever that stupid cliche is. if you're not liberal as a 20-year-old, you have no heart, but if you're not conservative in your 40s or 50s, you have no brain. Whatever the fuck that is. I don't really like that cliche, but there is definite truth to it. It's why the hippies disbanded and became fucking organic farmers, at least to make money from that. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm saying you have to survive. You have to survive. But some people take the deep end of that and they go off the other end of the spectrum. It's weird. It's a weird thing to look at. I'm sure there's movies that kind of or documentaries that follow. If not, that's a pretty good idea for a documentary. You find hippies or anarchists that went the complete opposite direction as they got older, because it's usually that way. It's not like someone's a conservative Reagan Republican and then in their 40s they become like a punk rock anarchist. It doesn't really flow in that direction, but I'm sure it happens too. People that just get so sick of the status quo, they get fucked over by the system, and then they're like, all right, fuck this shit. I'm sure it goes in that direction too. But what the hell am I talking about? I don't know. Um, this album, although it has some angstiness to it, it's more just structured musically is more of ambient response to frustrated pursuits I'm going through. So I would want to create ambient instrumental music that goes on for 30, 40 minutes. And during that escapist type of atmosphere, I would recite these lines at random times, I guess. Even if it's more in the background and the music is more the focus. That's kind of where I see this. And in the future, I would probably want to create music in this way instead of writing song by song by song by song analysis, because I like concept albums and I like albums that are a cohesive 30, 40-minute piece of music. That's the most important thing to me. But yeah, I'm not opposed to also writing singles and any song that happens to come into my head to try to get it out musically. I'm not opposed to that. Any type of music, any type of genre. It's just I'm more interested in a 30-minute concept album or even longer than that, because it's more of an experience. It's more of a cinematic experience, and that's my only way of meditating. If I can listen to The Wall, Pink Floyd The Wall, all the way through in one setting, or Einstein on the Beach, which I've never been able to do. You want to meditate, go walk around your neighborhood for 3 hours, listen to Einstein on the Beach by Philip Glass, because I think it's like three plus hours. And if you can make it through that, you're probably a stronger person than I am, because it's such a weird And that's why it is such a great album for the just the weirdness of it. And I don't really know if that's a minimalist thing. Philip Glass is considered a minimalist, but I'm going to share that album too, since I've tried to listen to it all the way through in the past, and that's what I'm going for. I want to make an album. Well, not 3.5 hours. That's just the crazy. That dude's crazy, crazier than me. I don't think I could write a 3 hour cohesive minimalist opera, whatever it's called. I like focusing on just 30 minutes of inspiration, 40 minutes at the most. And to unite music for that long is just as difficult, is very difficult. To do it for 3 hours is insane. And that was back in what, like the 70s or 80s before a lot of this technology was around. So, yeah, if you never tried to listen to Philip Glass, Einstein on the Beach, give it a try. You might love it, you might hate it. It's one of those albums that's very unique. I don't think it can be really compared to anything else. So maybe I'll try to listen to that again later today. If I could walk around the neighborhood and listen to Philip Glass, Einstein on the Beach for 3.5 hours, that would be pretty impressive. It would improve my patience, my ability to zone out, my ability to just mentally focus and also not focus on something, because it's very hard to focus on a 3.5 hour composition without your brain going a little loopy, especially a weird collection of music like Einstein on the Beach. There's other Philip Glass stuff that I like more than that because I am a fan. I never really fell in love with Einstein on the Beach as a cohesive piece of music. Maybe it's the opera voices that kind of get on my nerves after a while, but I like his instrumental stuff better. But I'll share Einstein on the Beach since I'm talking about it right now for so long. And I'll even try to do that later today since it's kind of a challenge to do. But I guess that's it for now. How long am I speaking for? Almost 45 minutes. So I think I'm done. Um, I'm not sure if I'll include this in my new anthology that I'm procrastinating to work on. I'm going to write a new anthology with all the albums I've constructed over the last year or so, and I don't think I'll include this one because it's so odd. Like it's just one long continuous album. I don't think it's similar to any of the other ones I've done lately, but maybe I will. I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about it. The Humboldt trip, yeah, I decided to include that one. And this one, I'm not sure yet. There's I want to document everything that I've done just to organize it in a more reader friendly fashion. That's why I did it all in one book, one large PDF file of everything I've done over the last 20 years. And well, this second one isn't as long. It's only about maybe 16 albums as opposed to 52 or 54 or whatever it came to the first time. And I probably will include this since it is maybe the birth of the new way I'll try to write stuff going forward. But again, I think I've come to the realization that I've been led by multiple muses. There's not one muse that, when I say like the muse is leading me into a fucked up direction, I don't think it's just one muse. I think I have multiple personality muses leading me in multiple paths of creation. And I'm not going to complain about it because at least it's given me something to experience, something new to try to create and share with people. I'd be less happy if I didn't have a direction to pursue in a creative way. So I don't feel like I'm forcing things out yet. That's usually when I take a long break for months and months and months, which I've done in the past. If I don't have anything new to really work on in terms of a creative outlet, then I'll just turn to something else. Just read a lot, or I'll just try to organize other stuff, like write my book. But as long as I have new things floating around within my head, I feel like I have to pursue that and see where it leads me. Doesn't mean that this will be like some grand statement, ambient piece with spoken word lyrics that blow people's minds. I don't really care. I just want to create something cool, man. That's where my focus remains. And if I did have like a company motto for Compass Charlatan Publishing, if there was like a company motto, it was like it wouldn't be anything other than that. It would just be all we want to do is make cool shit or something like that. Very simple statement that we don't want pretentious shit. And people can find pretension in what I just shared, definitely. There's probably tons of it in the lyrics I just shared with you. But I'm not intending to be pretentious or thinking I know anything more than anybody else. It's just thoughts that are in my head that I'm getting out. And I don't feel like editing. I can't say that word, editing. I don't feel like editing myself down and down and down. It's already like not understandable or not even to myself. I don't connect the dots until later down the road, and then maybe I'll edit it at that point if I think there's some overriding theme to all this nonsense. But at this juncture, yeah, they're just phrases that I wrote over the last week or so. The last 66 couplets came out over the last 2 days very quickly as I was in between making the doodles and doing other stuff. So that's where it is. That's where this album rests. And I don't know if it's a lack of a theme, or I just don't know what the theme is. That's probably more where I'm siding towards. There probably is some kind of a theme to this, just even though it is a lot of filler, probably like it's probably too many lines when you write 33 couplets, then 33 couplets, 33 couplets. For some reason, I just wrote as the proposal for this album, I wrote as instructions for myself, write 99 couplets and 20 doodles and then put it out. I could have made this into like a ebook again, but I figured I'd just do it on Substack because I already shared all the doodles on Instagram as I was making them. I'm trying to grow my Instagram. I don't know if it's worth anything, but it is a way to motivate an artist because you do get affected by that stuff. Oh, who's following me? Who's liking my stuff? Which ones get the most hearts? It's weird to think like this as a 44-year-old man that I care about this shit, but your brain doesn't change. You do want to be accepted. You do want to be viewed as a valid artistic voice, a valid artistic vision, whatever. So yeah, it doesn't matter how old you get. I'm not like the genesis of my artistic ideas is not because I want people's attention or I want people's appreciation or legitimacy that the crowd can give to an artist. I'm not trying. That's not why I set out to do this, but it is a part of it because that's how you get more established and you can connect with more people and have more of an outreach, which leads to more opportunities. Because that's what I need is more opportunities to evolve and create stuff in different ways. But I think that's all. Hopefully you got through this and you got through my reciting of the lyrics and I wasn't too horrible, because I always feel like I should do it again because I don't like my speaking voice or I sound too fake. I wrote another note to myself. I'll end with this sentiment that I was going to try to do my audiobook again. I tried it years ago. I tried it a couple times and it just didn't click. I don't have a natural sounding voice when it comes to dictation, even if it's my own writing. And I don't know how to improve that besides doing stuff like this, where I can freely speak. But it's different when you're reading something, even when you don't have your lyrics memorized and you're trying to sing something and you have to read it off your computer. It's not going to sound as urgent or as meaningful. It's not going to connect with people because you're reading it. You're not expressing it. You have to express it. And it's not something I'm really good at, but I don't have a ton of experience with it. I'm sure I could get better with practice. But reading an audio book, which is half lyrics, half of my anthology is lyrics, half of it is just regular, paragraphs, regular prose of what influenced the albums and other bullshit that I wrote about. So I might try to do it at some point. It'll take a long time, but if I take it a chapter at a time, maybe I could do it over the course of a year. I don't know. It's something I want to do eventually. Whenever I listen to authors on podcasts and they talk about doing audiobooks, they're always like they were glad they did it themselves because it's more meaningful if you get AI to do it or if you get somebody else to read your audiobook. Yeah, it's not as relevant because it's not in your voice. Like there's a certain thing as a ghostwriter, as you're writing something that maybe doesn't sound like your voice, but it becomes a part of your voice. But that's different if you hire someone to read your audiobook or you get artificial intelligence to read it, even if it sounds more professional, it's not it's lacking the realism or the emotion that the author can give their own words. And I've heard people say that why artists shouldn't be afraid of AI is because AI doesn't know how to emote. It doesn't know how to harness emotions. But I don't know how. I'm still up in the air about that statement because emotions to me are usually fake anyway. Emotions are fake as a way of manipulation almost all the time. And machines could definitely learn how to do that. You want to learn the new propaganda of the future. It's not going to come from humanity because we've tried everything. You want to learn the new propaganda modes. It'll come from artificial intelligence because they'll know how to manipulate humanity more than we do. That is when it could get dangerous in terms of the science fiction element of AI becoming too powerful. Because maybe that's a cool idea for a science fiction movie. Uh, Political forces of the status quo, they give up trying to manipulate people because they've tried everything. It's just a repeat of history. And so they turn to artificial intelligence to manipulate people, promote a new type of propaganda, a new type of brainwashing. But the machine is so intelligent that it ends up manipulating those people too. And it just becomes an all-powerful entity designed to either destroy the world or get rid of human beings so they could take over. It's an interesting premise for like a Twilight Zone type of thing, like an all-knowing computer, which has been done so many times. I'm not creating anything new here. Even 2001, again, that's the general premise of that, or the Twilight Zone movie, or Twilight Zone episode. It was something about a computer in a cave that was, I don't know, trying to direct humanity in a small town. I forget. But yeah, it's nothing new. But in terms of propaganda, yeah, computers, artificial intelligence can infiltrate the human mind way more powerfully because it knows how to do certain psychological things that even human beings, can't comprehend yet. But I don't know. It's almost like playing chess. Uh, Supercomputers, are they always beating human beings at chess? Is that still a thing? I don't know. All right, I'm done rambling. Hopefully this long talk gives you an idea at least of where I want to take this album, because that's the only reason I do these things is to share exactly what I want to do, and to differentiate these albums from one another. 'Cause I don't want to be as redundant as I sound. It's a fear. I don't really fear coming across as fake or or too pretentious. I don't really fear those things, but those inevitable criticisms of any artist that you're pretentious or fake. I don't fear that stuff because I'm trying to be as real as possible, which is why I do these talks. But I fear more the redundancy that I'm just recycling bullshit over and over again. I'm more afraid of that aspect of creation, that I'm redundant, or that things that I really don't care about, I'm forcing into my head to speak about, where I don't care about these things in terms of politics and economics and foreign relations, all this other shit. I don't care about this stuff, but it always seems to come out, or often seems to come out recently in a lot of the albums I've done, because you're just exposed to it through your social media or through other stuff. You're constantly being fed this stuff. So it's inevitably going to be a part of your creative output. But yeah, that's the only reason I'm doing this. I just want to get these things out, and hopefully they can grow into cool shit someday.